where would the Patriots trade down? How far would they trade down? I thought that question deserved its own segments. Let's get to it. I really look at two teams. There's 3 quarterback needy teams behind the Patriots, and there's actually been some contention on this question. So I'll ask you, Cerrone. Let's do this one first. Let's say the Jets call you from 7 about moving up, and they want to take quarterback. Would you trade within the division to give a division opponent a quarterback?
I think you're in a situation where if your team has been this bad for the past few years, you're not in a position to be picky. You know what I'm saying? You get your quarterback, but I'm going to have me a couple defensive ends to ruin that quarterback's life. I trust my team and my organization that we're going to be better than you no matter what quarterback you pick. And I think you're not in the position to be like, nah, I don't want that deal. I think if the Jets call you and they offer you, I won't say a haul, but a great return on that just to move up a few slots, I think you absolutely take that call.
So I would take the call. I would certainly take the call.
Yeah.
And I would let everybody know I'm taking the call.
Mm-hmm.
Drive that price up.
Yep.
I don't think I'd do the deal.
Mm-hmm.
And unless they're getting really, really stupid, I'm talking about like, all right, we're going to give you 7 and Garrett Wilson and a future first to move up to 4, right? At that point, you can't say no. But
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All things being equal, and look, I don't trust the Jets to get the quarterback right. I don't. But if they do, and you're this Patriots front office, there's no coming back from that. If they draft the guy who ends up being one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and that guy's now on your schedule twice a year, and you allowed that to happen, it's tough to come back from that. So I'm taking the call. I'm absolutely taking the call. But I'm hoping that I'm just using the Jets as leverage for what are really the other 2 teams in this conversation. And that is the Las Vegas Raiders at 6 and the New Orleans Saints at 9. I don't think there's any other quarterback needy teams that are within range. Now you could say, maybe Pittsburgh needs a quarterback. Maybe the Rams want to get ready for the next guy after Stafford. Now you're going down into the 20s, and I don't, again, unless it's a stupid offer, like 5 first-round picks, right? You're not moving down that far. So the game we'll play here over the next couple of weeks is, are the Raiders or the Saints going to add a veteran quarterback? And with the Saints, Derek Carr becomes a part of that conversation as well. Kellen Moore was very complimentary of him this week. But, the Raiders have been tabbed as a possible landing spot for Aaron Rodgers, which if they do that, they're probably not moving up to take a quarterback. Sam Darnold is going to be out there as well, although I think he's probably more in play for those teams that are 1, 2, 3. I would say the same about Kirk Cousins. He has connections in Cleveland with the coaching staff there, so there could be a move there. But I think you're probably looking at the Raiders at 6. And if you're only moving down those 2 spots, I don't think you're getting the future first-round pick. Not in this class, not with these quarterbacks. Doesn't mean you're not getting nothing. I look at the closest trade, and if you're new to the show, what I always try to do, I know there's the NFL trade chart, and that certainly has value and it certainly has its place, but not every NFL trade follows that, especially when you're talking about trading with quarterbacks at the top of the first round, things like that. So what I like to do that I feel like is a little more accurate is go back and try to find trades involving similar picks. And what did those look like? There isn't a great comp in recent history moving down from 4 to 6 with the quarterback on the board. The closest I can find is the 2018 draft when the Colts moved down from 3 to 6 to allow the Jets to draft Sam Darnold. Now, the unique thing about that trade was the Jets, who were moving up, had 2 second-round picks in that draft. So it was 3 for 6, 37, 49, and a future second. So they moved down 3 spots. They got 3 seconds. That was a better draft. It was a little bit bigger of a move. If you're making that trade with the Raiders, comparable trade, what I think you're looking at, you're going to go from 4 to 6. You're going to get 37 or 38, whichever one the Patriots don't have.
Yep.
You're probably going to get a day 3 pick, and then you're going to get the Raiders' second next year. Doesn't sound like a lot, but you're going to have 37 and 38 back-to-back if you make that trade. If you do that, now you have a lot of opportunities. You have 37, 38, 69, 77. It's going to be very easy to move back up into the first round if you want. Maybe you can spin off one of those seconds where you have the back-to-back picks and make a deal, or you get back-to-back picks in what is kind of the sweet spot of this draft, which everybody's calling like 20 to 50, 20 to 60. So if the Patriots are looking to move back,
you only move in 2 spots, so you're still going to get whoever's on most people's mock draft anyway.
And look, if you move back, and let's say you end up with 37 and 38, right? And then you use one of those picks to move back up into the first. I would say you move back 2 spots to pick up an extra first-round pick, and you still have the assets you had going in, essentially. It's not a bad move. Or if you make the trade ahead of time, which you could do, well, now you can trade 37 or 38 maybe for a receiver.
Yeah.
And now you essentially move down 2 spots to add DK Metcalf or to add T. Higgins if he gets tagged or a guy like that.
And these teams that are moving, you're assuming that will try and move ahead of you are looking for quarterbacks. So if you're still looking at, let's say, an Abdul Carter or Mason Graham or somebody like that, they might still be there because all the guys ahead of you, they moved up because they're trying to get caught. They're trying to get Sanders. They're trying to get Cam Ward. And you mentioned Jackson Dart's name being thrown in there now. So you still could end up with the guy you initially targeted in the first place and just got, just picked up more assets along the way. And I was looking at the Saints in that position. But as we were talking about, somebody mentioned earlier on, I think it was a caller, they don't have any cap space. So do you see them trading away draft picks, which is their only assets, to move up a few slots? So you think they're just in a bad spot where they just have to sit where they are?
Who was that? Sorry, who was that?
The Saints, at 9, I believe they are.
So they're the one where
it's a tough spot.
Yeah, I'm a little less of the belief that they would move up just because I think Moore's going to try to make it work with Carr. They are a day 2 quarterback team to me. Jackson Dart, Jalen Milroe, that sort of group.
Forgot about Milroe, yeah.
Right. So I think, and Milroe just makes sense on the Saints. He makes sense in that Kellen Moore offense.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not going to need to move up to get him. They're probably not going to need to take him in the first round to get him. They can probably get him with their second-round pick. So I
think he'd be a fan favorite, too, in that area.
Yeah, I look less at them. I will say this. I'll give you one other team to watch when it comes to a trade for the Patriots. And we're going to move a little further down the board. If the Patriots are going to move up from the top of the second back into the first round, which we know they tried to do last year and couldn't, and they're in better shape to do it this year. They have the extra third from the Judon trade. If they move down at the top of the board, they'll have another extra day 2 pick. 24, Minnesota, that's a sweet spot. Vikings only have 4 picks right now. They'll probably get one more as a comp pick. That's the projection for losing Kirk Cousins. But that's a team that need to make multiple picks. They're going to have a lot of big contracts on the books soon. Some of them are already on the books. Some of them are coming. They need multiple picks. They don't just need that one. So if the Patriots are going to trade up from the top of day 2, which I think should be a strong consideration, I look at Minnesota at 24. And in that case, like, you can make the we call it around here the Kyle Duggar trade the Patriots made when they moved back with the Chargers a couple years ago.
Yeah.
38 and 77 probably gets you up to 24. And now you're making 3 picks, first, second, third, all lined up. But or it's not first, second, third, first, third, but you're making those 3 top 100 picks like you usually would, but you've turned that Judon trade to help you move up a handful of spots.
Yeah, and I think the fans would be on board with that. I think people would love it. I think the amount of quality, future stars you can get by getting back into that first round like that, I think you'd be able to address your needs. That's all assuming that you've done what you needed to do in free agency. At least it's up to that point. But I think you can address a lot of needs if you get back in that first round like that and get in and can multiply your assets in those top 100 picks. And I think everybody would be on board with that. I didn't think about Minnesota. In Minnesota, I think it's a situation where I just looked it up a little while ago. They gave up like 50 sacks in the season. You saw Sam Darnold get sacked 9 times in the playoffs after being dominant most of the season. I can see with no draft picks, I can see them wanting more picks so they can build themselves up in the trenches and be more competitive next year as well. So that's a good call on your part.
Let's go to Andy in Sudbury on Patriots trade scenarios. Andy, good morning.
Morning, Alex. How are you?
Good. How are we doing?
Doing good, thank you. So I agree with you. The Patriots need so many things. I could write like an entire book on this draft anyway. I am not as big on Will Campbell as some people, and I think that reason is his arm length. And I'm definitely going to be watching him at the Combine next week. And what do you guys think of trading for like a veteran? Like, I know he's a little on the older side. I know the injury history, but Chris Godwin at wide receiver. Just let me know on those two thoughts. Thank you kindly. Bye.
Thanks for the call, Andy. If your only concern with Will Campbell is his arm length, we'll see at the Combine. That really should be not your only concern, but your only major concern. He's a really good player outside of that. Outstanding player outside of that. Chris Godwin's actually going to be a free agent. So you don't need to trade for him.
He's available. Yeah, you can just pay him.
He's coming off the injury. He is a little bit older. He's not, if you miss out on T. Higgins and you still want to get that proven commodity, I think he's probably second best receiver in free agency. I wouldn't be against signing him. Right? I don't know that I'd want to trade for him.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be against signing him. You don't have to give up any draft capital. I still think you're looking, like if they sign T. Higgins, right? And we go to, when we're doing the draft next year, we're probably not talking about the receivers in the first round.
Yeah.
We're looking elsewhere. Maybe you add a guy on day 2 to supplement, but you shouldn't be looking for that like number 1 coverage dictator anymore. If it's Godwin to me is more of a bridge. He's a good bridge, but he's more of a bridge. Like he's not a long-term answer. You're still looking for that guy at the top of the depth chart to set your coverage and all that.
His style of play reminds me of what you want from Jalen Polk. he moves and looks like Jalen.
He's much faster.
Oh yeah. He's crazy fast when he's healthy. You can say when he's healthy, but I think a lot of it is. I'm gonna say I'm down on Godwin. I think he's had a bunch of injuries going back to when Brady was even there. But how does he look without the Mike Evans on the other side? You know what I'm saying? I think having that superstar on the other end kind of helps him out a lot. And now if you have T. Higgins and you also can sign him and you get both of them, yeah, I'm all in for that. But like you said, if you're drafting him, then you're going to still be looking for a receiver down the line. And I don't know if they really want to do that right now, but I liked him when he's at his best and when he's healthy. I think he's a really good player. The dude just gets open. He's got great hands. But as far as the tackle position, I think Will Campbell's a good player and everybody understands that. I just want to know what happened to Calvin Banks. Why did his name just kind of fall off? Because it seemed like you go back a few months, he was looked at as a top 5 pick in the draft. Now people have him in their mock drafts in the teens. And I'm wondering is there a wide gap between Banks from Texas and Will Campbell? And is there really an arm length debate when it comes to Calvin Banks? Or is he just already a ready-made left tackle?